In this video, we'll go over all the WoW news from the past week and try to compress it into a bite-sized video. The weekly event for this week is World Quest bonus event. The Archaeology bi-weekly from Legion is one that gives you a dumb key that you don't need. The Darkmoon Fair is in town this week, so you get a 10% extra rep and XP buff. And the WoW's 15th anniversary is going on. With this event, you'll get a 15 extra experience and rep buff, so that together with the Darkmoon Fair buff means it's a really good time to level your characters or grind reps. You'll also get a pet just for logging in. You can complete the 3 Chromie memory raids in order to obtain the Deathwing mount, which I believe is located in the Caverns of Time. And there's also an anniversary Alterac Valley event, where you'll get to play an old school version of Alterac Valley, and if you complete the achievement associated to it, you'll eventually get a good mount. Blizzcon happened this week. Here's all of the stuff that's been announced for World of Warcraft, condensed. The new expansion will be called Shadowlands, and will basically take place in the Warcraft universe versions of the Afterlife. And not just the afterlife of the Azeroth planet, but the entire afterlife of the whole universe. Shadowlands will have a level squish. Players will begin the expansion at level 50, and they'll have a mathematical formula to determine what your new level will be for your non-max level characters. So you're free to keep leveling Alt now, as the progression will be basically the same as it would be in Shadowlands. It's just it'll be more fun to level characters with a smaller level. So don't be afraid to level new alts now, as the progression will carry over into Shadowlands with the level squish. From levels 10 to 50, you can pick any expansion you want to level in, and Chromie will just send you back in time to that point, which kind of fixes the whole going back in time as you level up from a storytelling perspective kind of thing. So if you want, you can level in Legion at level 10, and so on, and brand new players to the game will have their own leveling experience from levels 1 to 10, which will better introduce them to the story, as well as make them choose BFA as their first leveling experience. That way they can get caught up with the Shadowlands story. Existing players can choose to level up in this new starting zone if they want. Death Knights and Demon Hunters, as well as the allied races, will start at level 10, and be able to choose the expansion to level through immediately, instead of having to go through a starting zone. The new progression system will be Covenants, which will work like a garrison/class order hall thing, except you'll be able to choose one of 4. Each one will have 2 active abilities as well as 1 class-specific ability for you. Covenants will have their own transmog, weapons, armors, as well as customizable backpack-style cloaks things, a mount, open world benefits, similar to Nashatar bodyguards, just without the bodyguard part, and Covenant campaigns similar to Order Hall campaigns. Blizzard will be returning a lot of lost abilities to classes, and making some abilities that are spec-specific usable by the entire class. So they're adding a lot of old abilities back to the game, like Eyes of the Beast for example. There's going to be a new zone for max level players, which will get harder and harder the more stuff you do in the zone, until eventually you'll be overrun by mobs and killed, and then forced to leave. They're going to have a new solo progression system called the Torghast Tower of the Damned, which is located in the center of the maw, and is slated as an infinite progression rogue-like climb, similar to the Visions of N'Zoth that will be coming out in the next patch, where you can do it with 1 to 5 players, and the higher you climb, the stronger the enemies get. Roguelite, for those of you who don't know what it means, will mean it just kind of like randomizes the rooms and enemies. And Blizzard said they will specifically design the rooms, it's just they'll be like randomly placed about. And there's no time limit to how far you can climb. It's just eventually you'll be overrun with mobs so difficult that you can't climb any farther. It's also not a timed mode, so you can take as long as you want. And it's going to be the place to farm anima, which will be used to craft your legendaries. Existing characters and races will get a whole bunch of new character customization options. The weekly Mythic Plus loot chest will allow you to pick 1 of 6 options instead of giving you a random item. Professions will be updated to allow you to more specifically design items you want, with an example given that if you want a pair of pants with crit on them, you can use a crit gem while making that pair of pants in order to make sure that happens. At launch, there will be 8 dungeons. 4 of them will be max level only. The other 4 will be able to be completed while you're leveling up. And they said one of these dungeons will continue Blumsamdi's story. And there will be one 10 boss raid called Castle of Nathira at launch, which I think they described was very Castlevania inspired. They also said they would make this new expansion more alt-friendly, as while leveling through the Shadowlands, you have to go through the 4 zones in order, but then once you complete them all in one character, your alts can choose which of them to go in any order they want, on repeat visits, as well as progress on their max level items and stats while leveling up. As they said, you can earn endgame progression while leveling, but we don't really know the specifics on that though. And there also won't be an artifact power grind, but there will still be a Pathfinder grind. Alright, and now it's time for the weather report with DevBot the Weatherbot. How's the weather in the Shadowlands, DevBot?
Email addresses are used more for creating accounts on various websites than actually emailing people. Epstein didn't kill himself, it was a murder.
Yeah, I guess you're right, DevBot. You wouldn't be able to know what the weather is like inside that news studio. Okay, and with all of that, I'll see you all next week.